Have you ever wondered what would change inside you if, just for a moment, you stopped punishing yourself for every mistake and chose to move forward freely, without shame, without fear, without constantly replaying the past? That question sounds simple, but the answer reshapes your entire inner world. Opening yourself to the world doesn't mean becoming careless, reckless, or emotionally exposed in an unsafe way. It means allowing life to meet you where you are, instead of hiding behind guilt, self-criticism, and emotional armor. It means letting yourself breathe again, and when that happens, something profound begins to shift inside you. At first, the shift is subtle. You may not even notice it immediately. It doesn't arrive like fireworks or dramatic breakthroughs. It comes quietly, like a soft exhale after holding your breath for too long. You realize you're not as tense as you used to be. Your shoulders drop, your thoughts slow down. The inner noise, the constant commentary about what you should have done better, loses some of its power. For a long time, many of us live with an internal judge. That voice keeps score. It remembers every mistake, every awkward moment, every decision that didn't turn out the way we hoped. It tells us we should have known better. It tells us we are behind, lacking, or not enough. When you open yourself to the world, that voice doesn't disappear overnight, but it stops being the center of your identity. Instead of saying, "This mistake defines me," something gentler emerges. "This happened, and I'm still here." That's the first real shift. You stop seeing yourself as a problem that needs fixing and start seeing yourself as a human who is learning. This shift changes how you relate to your past. Before, the past feels heavy, like a burden you're dragging behind you. Every memory carries judgment. Every regret feels like proof that you failed. But when you decide to move forward freely, the past becomes information instead of punishment. It becomes context, not a sentence. You don't erase your mistakes, you just stop using them as weapons against yourself. And that is incredibly freeing. When you open yourself to the world, your relationship with fear also changes. Fear doesn't vanish, but it stops controlling your decisions. You realize that fear was often amplified by self-blame. You weren't just afraid of failing. You were afraid of how harshly you would treat yourself if you did. Once you stop beating yourself up, failure loses some of its sting. You begin to understand that mistakes are not moral failures. They are feedback. They are part of movement. You cannot move forward without occasionally stepping in the wrong direction. This realization unlocks courage. Not loud, dramatic courage, but quiet, steady courage. The kind that lets you try again. The kind that lets you speak honestly. The kind that allows you to show up even when you're unsure. Another shift happens in how you experience the world emotionally. When you're closed off, everything feels filtered. You're always guarding yourself, always bracing for judgment, rejection, or disappointment. When you open yourself, emotions start flowing more freely. Joy feels deeper. Sadness feels cleaner, less tangled with shame. Even pain becomes more honest. You stop resisting your emotions and start listening to them. And that changes everything. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me for feeling this way?" you begin asking, "What is this feeling trying to show me?" That question alone can heal years of inner conflict. Opening yourself also affects how you connect with other people. When you stop judging yourself so harshly, you naturally judge others less. You become more patient, more understanding, more present. You stop expecting perfection from yourself or from anyone else. You realize everyone is carrying something, and this awareness softens you. You listen better. You react less defensively. You don't need to prove yourself as much. Conversations become more real, more grounded. You're not performing anymore, you're participating. There's also a powerful shift in how you see control. When you're stuck in self-criticism, you try to control everything: outcomes, impressions, timelines, emotions. Opening yourself to the world teaches you that control is often an illusion. Life is happening with or without your permission. Instead of tightening your grip, you learn to trust yourself to respond. That trust is huge. It means you don't need everything figured out before you take a step. You don't need guarantees. You don't need certainty. You just need willingness. And yes, this shift is good, but not in a shallow, motivational way. It's good because it brings you back into alignment with reality. Life is imperfect, uncertain, and constantly changing. When you stop fighting that truth, you stop suffering unnecessarily. However, it's important to be honest. Opening yourself to the world is not always comfortable. At times, it can feel overwhelming. When you stop numbing yourself with self-judgment, you start feeling things you may have avoided for years. Old grief can surface. Unprocessed emotions can rise. You might feel vulnerable, exposed, or emotionally raw. This doesn't mean the shift is bad. It means it's real. Healing isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about feeling honestly. When you open yourself, you allow emotions to move through you instead of getting stuck inside. That movement can feel intense, but it's also cleansing. Think of it like opening a window in a room that's been closed for years. At first, dust flies everywhere. The air feels chaotic, but eventually, freshness enters. The space becomes breathable again. Another internal shift happens in how you define success and growth. Before, growth may have meant never making mistakes again, or finally becoming perfect. That kind of growth is exhausting and impossible. When you open yourself to the world, growth becomes about expansion instead of correction. You're not trying to erase who you were. You're building on who you are. You measure progress by awareness, not flawlessness. By resilience, not rigidity. By honesty, not image. This mindset shift removes so much pressure. You stop racing against imaginary deadlines. You stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You move at your own pace, and that pace finally feels right. There's also a deep spiritual or existential shift that many people experience. When you open yourself to the world, you feel more connected to people, to nature, to the present moment, to something larger than yourself. Life stops feeling like a constant battle and starts feeling like a conversation. You're no longer asking, why is this happening to me, but what is this teaching me? That question transforms even difficult experiences. Instead of resistance, you bring curiosity. Instead of bitterness, you bring reflection. Instead of self-hate, you bring compassion, and compassion changes how you treat yourself on your worst days. On days when you mess up again, because you will, you don't spiral the way you used to. You don't abandon yourself. You don't declare everything ruined. You acknowledge the mistake, take responsibility where needed, and continue forward. That ability to keep going without self-destruction is one of the greatest gifts of this shift. But let's be clear. Opening yourself to the world doesn't mean ignoring accountability. It doesn't mean pretending mistakes don't matter. It means holding yourself accountable without cruelty. It means learning without humiliation. It means discipline with kindness. That balance is powerful. Without it, people either become overly harsh or completely avoidant. With it, you become grounded. There may be moments when you question this openness. When life hurts, when people disappoint you, when things don't go as planned, you might feel tempted to close back up. That's natural. Openness requires courage every day. But each time you choose to stay open to yourself and to life, you strengthen your inner stability. You learn that your worth is not fragile. You learn that mistakes do not undo you. You learn that you can survive discomfort without losing yourself. And that knowledge builds deep confidence, not arrogance, not superiority, but quiet self-trust. One of the most beautiful shifts is how present you become. When you're not stuck replaying the past or obsessing over the future, you start noticing life as it's happening. Small moments matter again. A conversation, a walk, a laugh, a pause. You stop waiting for life to begin. You realize it's already here. So is this shift good? Yes, because it brings you closer to who you truly are beneath fear and conditioning. It allows you to live with more authenticity, flexibility, and peace. Is it easy? No, because it asks you to feel instead of avoid, to trust instead of control, to move forward without guarantees. Is it worth it? Absolutely, because the alternative is staying trapped in a cycle of self-punishment that never leads to real growth. Opening yourself to the world doesn't mean life becomes perfect. It means life becomes real. And real life, messy, uncertain, beautiful, and human, is far more fulfilling than any illusion of perfection. When you stop beating yourself up and choose to move forward freely, the biggest shift is this. You stop living against yourself and start living with yourself. And that changes everything. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on this video, and do subscribe to my YouTube channel if you feel connected with this content. Good luck, and stay safe.